Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I'm going to walk with you the process of importing vehicles for diplomats or expatriates, how you can import a duty-free car to Kenya or to East Africa under the East Africa Community Customs Management. We will first of all look at who is eligible, like if we say the expatriates and the consulate, the diplomats, who is eligible, which bodies are eligible, which documents are required when you're importing the duty-free car so that you can be exempted from paying the taxes. I will also explain the exemption privilege. What are you exempted, and the privilege, what type of people are exempted from paying the taxes and importing a duty-free car. And lastly, but not least, we're going to look at the taxes which are exempted under the East Africa Community Customs Management of the Act of the year 2004. So let us first of all look at who should qualify. And the first body that qualifies is the foreign embassies or the consulates, e.g. the German embassy or the South African embassy into Kenya, the UK embassy, the Tanzanian embassy. So those embassies, they qualify. The second is the United Nations bodies, the UN bodies. For example, the United Nations Environment Programme, the UNEP, the United Nations High Commission for Refugee, UNHCR, the International Court of Justice, the UN Secretariat, and the Economic and Social Council, just to name but a few. So those are the bodies of the United Nations. The third one who qualify are the non-governmental organizations, what we call the NGO. These are the examples, maybe just to name a few: the World Vision International, the International Federation of Red Cross, the Amnesty International, the Aga Khan Foundation, AKF. So those are just examples of the non-governmental organization. So if you want to import your car through us, you will give us a call if maybe you have not mentioned your organization, and then I will help you in checking whether you qualify and also the eligibility of your company that you're working on, or maybe if you want to import a vehicle for your company. Now, let us look at the second part, the documents required. And the following documents are required for the custom clearance and registration of motor vehicles. So in East Africa Vehicle Importers, we specialize in importing motor vehicles. So this video will mostly focus on motor vehicles, but the duty-free will mean also other items that you may need to import. The first document that you will need is the original Pro 1B tax exemption document. And this is a document that stipulates that you are applying for the authority to import a duty-free good by being entitled a foreign personnel in Kenya. So it contains the name, that is your name, and address of the consignee. Remember, when you're importing a vehicle for you, you will be the consignee. So the vehicle comes from maybe Japan or from UK or from your country under your name. So you are the consignee. So when we import a vehicle, or when you import your vehicle through us, the East Africa Vehicle Importers, the vehicle is always written under your name as the consignee. The Pro 1B also has the bill of landing or the air consignment. So that is the name of the carrier that we used to import your vehicle. So the shipping vessel will be written as now the name of the carrier. It will also has the port of clearance. In this case, if you are importing to Kenya, the port of clearance will definitely be the port of Mombasa. That form will also has the seal of the mission. That is the mission of your company or the organization that you are working on. And then also it has the authorizing diplomatic officer who will stamp it, and he will write his name and designation. After that, you will need to take this form to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We will help you in this in case maybe you have any problems, and I will explain the procedure more. But let us first of all finish on the other documents that are required apart from that Pro 1B. So the second document that you will need is a PIN certificate copy. So you will have a copy of the PIN certificate. Another document is a valid work permit. So it stipulates that you are allowed to work in Kenya. Another document that you will need is the original diplomatic passport. So this will be required when the ship docks at the port of entry. So in our case, the port of Mombasa. When the ship will reach Mombasa with your car, you will need the original one or diplomatic passport. You will also need the original vehicle commercial invoice. This invoice should have the details of the make, if it's a Toyota, the model, maybe Toyota Land Cruiser, or if it's a Range Rover, maybe Range Rover Sports SVR, and also the year of manufacture and the engine number. So they'll be written at the original vehicle commercial invoice. Another document that we'll need is the original export certificate, that is the logbook. So we get this from the country that we buy the car. So when East Africa Vehicle Importers buys the car, maybe from UK, from Japan, from Australia, or any other country, we are given the export certificate from that country. It shows that the vehicle is legit, the vehicle has been deregistered in that country, and it is authorized to be exported. Another document that you will need is the original bill of landing with name and signature at the back. So make sure you signed, because there was a time we had an issue when we imported for another person who was working in the NGO, and there was a problem, he had not signed. Another document that you will need is a diplomatic number plate and cover letter from the embassy or your organization with advice on the specific registration number that you will be allocated. And the last document that you'll need is a port release order or the customs release. This one will process from you. We get this one from the KRA, so we will guide you on anything that you will need in all those documents, how you can get them, and any problem that you may get, we will guide you. Take note of this, that since the original diplomatic passport or the job card, what they call the Louis Passer, they are required when the car is being cleared. So we always advise our client to be in the country when the car arrives in Mombasa. So when the ship docks in Mombasa, we will always be updating you. We know that the ships, when we are importing the car from Japan, it usually takes around 40 to 44 days. Also from the UK, it's around that time, depending on when the ship started coming. So when the ship is docking at the port of Mombasa, we usually advise our client that you should be in the country, you should be in Kenya. This is to avoid the car from staying more days and exceeding the port days. So there's the fee that you will pay, the demurrage, if your car has surpassed the free day that you are given at the port. And then now we will start now the clearance. The clearance usually takes 3 to 5 working days. There are some clearing agents that we work with, or if you have your own clearing agent, it is still okay. Also note that the maximum number of units that you can import, there are two. One for you and one for your spouse for personal use. Also, you should note that you should be arriving in this country or maybe in East African country for a contract of a term not less than 2 years. So you should not be allowed to import a tax-free vehicle if you are just staying in the country for a period that is not 2 years. So it must be not less than 2 years, 2 years and above. And so you are exempted from paying the taxes under the East Africa Community Customs Management Act of the year 2004, the 5th schedule, Part A, in paragraph 4. So once you read it, you will see your rights and the taxes that you are exempted. So this paragraph stipulates the condition and limitation of such importation. It reads in part that the vehicle should be shipped into the country within 90 days or a further period not exceeding 360 days upon arrival by the commissioner of the returning individual residence. So the contract period is for a term not less than 2 years, as I've explained. Now let us look at the exemption privileges. And I've said that those privileges are provided under the provision of the 5th schedule of Part A, paragraph 4 of the East Africa Community Customs Management Act of the year 2004. So we will limit this video to the section of importing vehicles because East Africa vehicle importers, we usually deal with importation of vehicles only, not other things. So the relevant sections accompanying this registration has personal effects and also the goods. You know, now there are people who need their personal effects like the cars and also their other goods or car for the organization. So let us start with personal effect. And in our case, the personal effect is the car. So any car of any kind imported by the entitled personnel or their dependent imported by them prior to clearance through the customs within 90 days of their first arrival in the partner state, or maybe a longer period not exceeding 360 days from the date of his arrival, as may be approved by the commissioner in the partner state. So he is entitled to personal exemption under the returning residence or diplomatic status. So this exemption shall apply only to the entitled personnel who may have been arrived for a contract, notwithstanding their previous resident status in a particular state, while executing another assignment. So provided that each contract is for a term not less than 2 years. So if you had come to Kenya for this case and you stayed and you have renewed a contract, so this contract will attract also an exemption as much as this contract is still new and is going for a period not less than 2 years. So every time you renew a contract and the contract is for a period more than 2 years, you will be entitled for a tax exemption. The second are the goods for official use of the United Nations. So this is not personal. This is goods, or for this case now the vehicles, for the use of the United Nations or its specialized agency or Commonwealth of the High Commission or of any foreign embassy or consulate or diplomatic mission. So this is the time maybe you realize we have imported a vehicle not for personal use, for a person who is working under the UN, the United Nations, but the United Nations themselves, they may need to import a vehicle, so they'll be exempted also. The third one is goods of the use of the high officials of the United Nations or specialized agency or a member of the diplomatic staff of any Commonwealth or foreign country, where the specific provision for such exemption is made under the ministry or the minister responsible for foreign affairs. So the Minister of Foreign Affairs may sign and may exempt that company or that body from paying the tax. The fourth one is the goods for the United Nations or any specialized agency for the support of a project in a particular state. Let's say, for example, the Red Cross, they want to import the vehicles to support maybe during the floods, or maybe there is famine in a particular state, maybe in Kenya. So those vehicles will not also pay the taxes. They will be exempted. Now, we are going to look at this part. We are going to focus on the types of tax that are exempted, that will be exempted, and the legislation. So there are some taxes which are exempted, but there are some charges that you need to pay which are not exempted. So the charges that you need to pay are the port clearance charges and the agent's clearance fee. So those you need to pay. Now let's look at the taxes that I'm saying one should not pay. So the taxes one should not pay or exempted from paying are: number one, the import duty, and this is exempted in the 5th schedule, part A, paragraph 4 of the East Africa Community Customs Management Act of the year 2004. The next one is the excise duty. You are also exempted by the 2nd schedule, part A, paragraph 2 of Excise Duty Act of 2015. The third one is the VAT, the value added tax, and you are exempted by the 2nd schedule, part B, paragraph 2 of the VAT Act of 2013. The fourth one is the IDF, that is the import declaration fee. Remember, this is 2% of the customs value, and this you are exempted by the 2nd schedule, part A, paragraph 6 of the miscellaneous fee and levies Act of the year 2016. And the last one that you are exempted is the railway development levy, and this one is you are exempted by the 2nd schedule, part B, paragraph 2 of the miscellaneous fee and levies Act of the year 2016. Remember, to qualify for an exemption, one should not have enjoyed an exemption privilege under any other diplomatic or as a returning resident status. So if you need to import your vehicle, feel free to give us a call at East Africa Vehicle Importers. We will guide you. We have imported several cars for the diplomats and for the organizations, the NGOs. So give us a call. If you need a personal car, we will help you. We will ship the car from UK, from Japan or Australia, and we will help you to do the clearance and everything. So any process that you may need to get more clarification, we are always here, just a call away, and we will give you now a personal advice and consultation. Thank you.